So here we go again. Mr. Ian Garry is now back at it. He did an interview with Errol Hawani where he pretty much addressed the whole situation, all the comments being made about him and his wife and all of the sorts, and it didn't look good. The man has a big case of the hypocrisy bug. It wasn't ammonia that put him out of 296. It was the hypocrisy bug, got into his system, and now he's kind of full-fledged dived into this dumb mode. I don't know what to call it. But basically in this whole interview with Errol Hawani, he kind of just talked a bunch of nonsense and he's kind of delusional about this whole situation. I don't really understand what's going on with him and his mindset. He doesn't really address what people were talking about him about, if you know what I mean. He kind of has this mindset that people are upset about his success when really that's not the case. I don't know. I'm going to dive into it into this video, so let's talk about it right now. And actually, before I even dive into any of this, I think it's funny how he's wearing a vegan shirt, or a vegan shirt to be exact. It's just kind of ironic because I don't think anybody takes him that seriously, and him wearing this hoodie or whatever this is, a sleeveless hoodie, makes him seem even more dumb and stupid. I don't know. Nothing against vegans. I don't mind vegans at all, but I just think it's funny how he's wearing his vegan shirt. It seems so cliche and just, I don't know, Ian Garry-ish.
So just curious, right after that event, Dana announced 299 Miami, which was March 9th. And then we found out he went back and later said February 17th, Anaheim. What changed there? Why the change in dates?
So I got a call after I'd been sick because the UFC wanted to quickly rearrange something to make sure that my fight was still going ahead. And they said to me, Vincente Luque in January or Jeff Neal in February. And I said, your doctor was literally here a couple of hours ago and told me that January was a bad idea, so I guess it's February. So I agreed. I told him. I came back to them, and that was February. So for me, it's that was it. It's like it's one of those things. It's I can't wait to fight again. And I get emotional about it still now thinking about it because that was a real opportunity to respond. And even like to answer your point, I've kind of lost your question because I'm thinking about fighting again. I'm thinking about that response, Errol.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about going in there in California and getting that response. And yeah, it's going to be a lot of shit that's going to make me very, very happy after that fight to get my hand raised. So yeah, I'm sorry, I just losing a bit of focus there thinking about this.
Yeah, so right off the bat, Ian Garry pretty much says that after he beats Jeff Neal, he's going to prove all the doubters wrong, all the haters wrong, that everybody's going to forget about him or respect him more magically. I don't understand. It's like Jeff Neal has the Mind Stone or something like that, and that if Ian Garry beats him, he can magically make everybody forget about or just change their minds about the entire situation. Ian Garry, guess what, bro? It doesn't matter. Nobody cares about your win against Jeff Neal. I mean, I guess I will care, but no one's going to be thinking differently about you in any sort of way. The criticism does not revolve around you winning fights or you being a good fighter. It revolves around how you acted in the octagon and outside of it with your Neil Magny, the way you've been talking about your wife's situation, stuff around that. Nothing about how you can fight in the octagon. Like, we all get it. You're a good fighter. You can throw some hands every now and then, bro, but it's not about that. We don't care about that. We care about how you called out Neil Magny for being a child abuser. And guess what? You don't even mention that at all out the gate. I don't know.
Okay, so you mentioned the shitstorm and all that stuff and being able to respond. What went wrong here? Why did this all start, Ian? Why do you think that there are so many people trying to hate on you, the videos, all this stuff? You put out an advert, right? You put out a thing directly responding to a lot of it. Why does it feel like all of a sudden in the last 2 months or so, all of this came your way?
I feel like a lot of people are sheep and a lot of people believe some ridiculous things online and they run with it. And then a lot gets kind of Chinese whispers taken out of context. And a lot of people don't understand my personal life or anything to do with it or anything to do with me, my family, my team. They've just heard whispers and rumors. And the truth is people love to hate. The internet, Instagram, Twitter, all of it is a very toxic place. And especially MMA media, 99% of it is very toxic. 1 minute they love you, the next minute they hate you. We've seen it. The hate is ridiculous. The love is amazing. So I think it might have all come my way because of my success and my rise and everything I'm doing, and people either love it or they hate it. Either way, they're giving me content and they're tuning into my fights.
So this is what I mean about how Ian Garry is kind of delusional in this whole aspect. Nobody is shitting on you because of your success. Nobody is out here saying, Ian Garry, you're such an amazing fighter, therefore we hate you. That is not realistic. It is because you sat there and you have made comments about Neil Magny that were you pretty much virtue signaling. You've said some pretty idiotic things. You're a Conor McGregor wannabe. You are just all of these things. Your personality is so tasteless. It's so not you. Like you're an AI robot, not a real human being. This is why people are hating on you. Nobody's hating on you because of you can leg kick very well and TKO Neil Magny. Not really, actually, that was a decision, but you can hurt Neil Magny to the legs a lot. Like we all agree that you're talented. We all agree that you are that you have potential to be a future, I guess, top 5 guy in the UFC. But it's not about that. No one's saying that. No one's critiquing you on your fighting skill. I mean, they kind of are, but nobody is out here trying to actively shit on you because of your success in the octagon. That's not the truth of the situation. The truth is that you are a weird kind of cringe personality, and that's what people are critiquing, not about your success in the octagon. It baffles me that his mind is on the wrong page here. It's like some really bad cognitive dissonance. Like he doesn't understand that people aren't talking about him being successful. It's just about him, being a cringe person.
So, over the past 2 years or so since you entered the UFC, I've heard you say to me and others, like, you want to be a disruptor, right? You did that in
100%.
Boston. Even in July, like you were a hot topic because you wore the T-shirt with the mugshot and whatnot.
Yeah.
Was there any part of you that came to the realization, like, hey, if I'm going to be a disruptor, I'm going to have to deal with what comes with that?
No, because my job is selling. My job is promoting my fight to the best level I can, to show up and have the most fun at the fight night I can. I'm not viciously assaulting and attacking people's families in any way, shape, or form to the way that the MMA world is going at a very toxic level. I mean, the best example is he's an absolute piece of shit for doing this, but it's a perfect example. You've got someone like Colby Covington, who isn't trash talking, he's desperate. To the point at which he mentioned his father's murder to sell a fight. He used that sore point in someone's life to try to stay relevant, to try win a mental battle. That's the point in MMA where we're at. And then we've got people like Sean Strickland who are talking all that mad stuff online, attacking people's families and people's wives. And the truth is, he is just someone who is dealing with his childhood trauma, the hurt and the pain from his past, and projecting it to the world. I'm not that.
So I really want to point this out and stretch this point home and really kind of emphasize on it. Garry said that he was not attacking people's families and that Sean Strickland and Colby Covington are these deplorable human beings who do these terrible things because maybe they want to sell a fight or that they have really bad childhood trauma. But can the same thing be said to you, Garry? Can't the same point be made home about you and the way you tried to attack Neil Magny's family by calling out his kids? Couldn't that be refuted the same way that you're talking about Colby Covington and Sean Strickland? I agree. I think Colby Covington made a terrible line against Leon Edwards. I think that was absolutely low and a terrible thing to do. I think Strickland does have some hypocrisy going on with the way he's been dealing with, this whole situation with you. But you thinking that you can just get off scot-free, that you haven't done anything wrong, that you being this disruptor doesn't require you to take any criticism. So there's a very popular saying that goes around. It's been said by many people, and that is you reap what you sow. And Garry, you sat there and you called out Neil Magny, calling him a child abuser because of an interview that he did, a little small interview, a little clip of Neil Magny saying this kind of passing, joking line, not even a real serious line. And you took that so far and called him out for it that now he's in a custody battle, which he probably will lose because of you. I really do feel bad for Neil Magny because I can only imagine him sitting in that courtroom and the lawyers pulling up an exhibit, a video of Garry going off on Neil Magny in that press conference and using that as evidence to why he shouldn't have custody of his kids. Like that whole line from Neil Magny, it wasn't supposed to be anything. It was a joke. It was a passing line. It was just a little gust of wind in the whole grand scheme of things. But no, Garry took his advantage. He saw his little boy, he saw his little prime suspect in Neil Magny and said, you know what? I'm going to promote this fight, just like how Colby Covington did with Leon Edwards' dad. But he took that little clip and stretched it out so far just to pull some clicks and likes and to get people on his side for his fight. You are the same thing Colby Covington is. You are a guy who found a little bit of evidence and took it out of context and said a very deplorable line and a very egregious thing because you wanted to sell a fight. You are Colby Covington just trying to not be Colby Covington. You can't hide behind this veil of, oh, I'm just trying to sell a fight. That's not how the world works, man. Because you want to claim the title of disruptor doesn't mean everything that you've done is all fun and jokes and that it's all fine and dandy because you know what? I'm a disruptor, man. I can just say whatever I want and not be held accountable for it because I'm Ian Garry, the disruptor. Change your fucking nickname. It's not Ian Machado Garry anymore. It's Ian the Disruptor Garry. It just really baffles me that he thinks that he can get away with this because he's trying to sell his fight. It's not what really happens. And listen, I don't think Ian Garry should be behind bars. I don't think he is the worst human being of all time, but this is hypocrisy in a nutshell. Talking shit about Strickland, talking shit about Colby Covington, saying that they're wrong for calling out people's families and getting people's families involved when you do the exact same thing is hypocrisy at its finest level.
So then very recently, this interview comes out with him and Theo Von, and he gets very emotional and he starts talking about some pretty heavy stuff. I mean, very hard to listen to, any child going through that. When you hear that, and then when you hear him talk about what Drick has said about him and how there's a line and that you don't talk about families, and then, of course, what he said about your family, what is your reaction?
So, and I obviously responded to that point online already. When I seen that post, I responded with a message. And this is my point that I'd like to kind of get across. I don't personally care what happened in his childhood or what happened in his past that has him the way he is now. I don't care what happened in your past. Don't attack and project your pain onto other people or to other people's families because you can't deal with it correctly. The UFCPI has mental health, has ways to deal with our athletes' mental health. Go talk to them and deal with it in the way that it should be dealt with. Talk about it. Get rid of it. Release it. Express it. Because to attack other people's families and other people's loved ones because you have trauma, childhood trauma, is completely unfair. It's inexcusable. You don't have a reason to attack other people because you are in pain.
Now, if you don't know what's going on, Sean Strickland did a podcast with Theo Von where he pretty much talked about how he had really bad childhood trauma and he broke down during the podcast and started crying. And it was a very emotional sight to see. But I do think that Ian Garry does have a point here. I think that Sean Strickland does have this level of hypocrisy to him. Is Sean Strickland a terrible person for it? No way. So Ian Garry, congratulations. You got a point from Kimball MMA here. I think you are correct. I think Sean Strickland didn't deal with this in the best way and that he should be able to take what he's dealing out. However, you're still at fault here because you still called out Neil Magny's family, his child, his son. You still call them out. You're still a part of this line. You maybe are a little bit different than Sean Strickland, but guess what? You're still the same in the aspect that you still got involved with other fighters' families. And the fact that you don't recognize that tells a lot about your character and how oblivious you are to the actual situation at hand and what you have done.
So I saw your video of your kind of like your hit list for the upcoming year. Is it accurate to say Jeff Neal, Colby, and Sean? Is that the order in a perfect world for you?
There is a yes. There is a very specific reason I would like those people. It's Jeff is a very good buddy for me to go off and showcase to the world just how elite I am and how good I am at what I do. Colby has also talked a lot of shit about me. He's talked about me. He's mentioned my wife. He obviously lost the fight against Colby. Colby's someone who wants those big fights, someone who's going to chat shit, someone who's going to entertain the fans, someone who's going to bring a lot of hype to the event. I am going to box the ears off Colby Covington for some of the stuff he said. And there isn't going to be anybody in that world or in this octagon who's going to be able to save him. I promise you now, I'll finish him. And I'll do it in 3 rounds. I don't need 5 rounds to finish him. I'll do it in 2. I'll do it in 1. Colby Covington's going to be slapped. And I hope I hit him so hard that he's never able to speak again. And I feel like a lot of people on this planet would be very happy that he never gets to speak on a mic again. So that's what I'd like with Colby. And whether it's this year or whether it's next year, I'd love Sean Strickland because any man or any person who ever talks or mentions me, my wife, and my family in that way, I'm going to get my hands on. And in an ideal world, towards the end of the year, I don't think Sean Strickland's going to be the world champion anymore. And I believe there's absolutely an opportunity for me to step up to middleweight and give him a hiding. And maybe maybe I'll beat him so bad that he'll forget all that trauma from his childhood and he can thank me.
So there you go. Ian Garry pretty much drops a similar line to what Dricus du Plessis said to Sean Strickland at a press conference forever ago, but I want to acknowledge the hit list real quick. That is so cringe. That is so dumb. Why are you making a hit list, Ian Garry? Listen, it's all fun and games, man, but that is the most cringe thing I've ever seen ever. This dude actually got a pen and paper and made his wife or somebody record him and write down names like he's Light Yagami from Death Note. What are you doing, bro? You're not him. I mean, whatever, man. It's just him trying to sell a fight, him trying to show off his personality, which is fine. I'm all for that. He's trying to do something to promote himself, which is cool and all, but I just think it's very cringe. And it's like, Ian, bro, a hit list, really? Are you serious right now? I don't know, man. That really is all there is in this interview. I don't really want to dive into too much because it kind of just is him just talking about, you know, future fights. And he did kind of address the whole Leon Edwards situation, which to me seemed like he didn't get the whole spiel from Leon's coach. He kind of just got the quick rundown, but I still think he's a bit not all the way there in understanding what Leon's coach was trying to say to him. But overall, I mean, it just really is him talking. He does have a lot of hypocrisy in this interview. I think it's just overall pretty stupid how he just doesn't realize that he is saying or he is criticizing Sean Strickland and Colby Covington for similar things that what he has done in the past to Neil Magny. It really just is what it is at this point. I don't know. I just didn't want to make this video in the first place. I thought it would be kind of beating a dead horse with Ian Garry, but I just felt like he was being a bit of a nuisance in this and just had some really bad cognitive dissonance. And so I had to hop on here and get a video out for this week. It really isn't that big of a deal in my opinion, but I just think it's just another tally on the idiocy of Ian Garry. Buddy, if you have a differing opinion, let me know in the comment section down below. Let me know how you feel about this whole Ian Garry situation, but I'm gonna get out of here. So like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon for notifications. I'm out of here. Peace.